Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Nova Covert Ops on Starcraft 2 on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries. And in this episode, Nova returned to the Dominion after escaping from an enemy facility. Emperor Valerian gave her a chance to prove her loyalty by leading a covert operations team against the Defenders of Man. Aided by Rigel, the Emperor's weapons and technology specialist, she recovered a memory that led her to the infested world of Tarsonis. That was the last mission, and here we are, going into Trouble in Paradise. I hate this fucking mission.
Do you?
This opening cutscene is actually pretty badass, though. We are actually for this cutscene under the Defenders of Man perspective here, as they are setting up the attack on this world. Would you?
And that's why we're wearing a Defenders of Man outfit.
Yeah. So, do you remember that during StarCraft 1, Arcturus actually got his hands on something called a psi emitter?
Oh yeah.
Well, the Defenders of Man have managed to reclaim that this somewhat lost technology and are using psi emitters specifically to drag zerg from across the sector onto specific worlds.
Perfect for putting the zerg right where we need them.
Roger that. Fall back to our position.
Hey, Mutilisks and Leviathans.
Dun, 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 dun. Wait, what is it, lady? Is it cool?
It is definitely not cool, because it is a psi emitter. Lick.
No, time to go data. No, still in cutscene land.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
still in cutscene land.
Boy, these models sure do look great up close. It's too bad once we zoom out, we're not going to see it at such high fidelity definition.
Reports are coming in from major population centers. They detail extensive damage.
It's Lockwell.
It seems all evacuation efforts were unsuccessful.
Of course they were unsuccessful. The Zerg are coming in from space.
How many Zerg are there?
Enough to vastly outnumber our forces, including all of the Dominion personnel on the world below. We are too late, Nova.
Damn it.
However...
Alright, pack your bags, everybody. We're too late. Let's go.
They've announced their intention.
There will be sandwiches served when we return.
Ooh, what kind of sandwiches?
Like heroes to these people.
Tuna.
They're not.
I don't like tuna sandwiches.
We are. Take us to the surface.
So, the plan specifically is to use the Defender's ploy to, well, actually assist them in rescuing people, because, you know, we don't want to see this planet entirely burn, even though that's what the Defenders of Man want.
The psi emitter signal has drawn most of the zerg to this location.
It's like, gentlemen, it's okay. We're supposed to be terminating the zerg, but you can slow down now. We're not supposed to take out that many of the zerg. We gotta look like we gotta let them cause some harm.
Yes.
But they cannot hold without reinforcement.
We'll get them evacuated soon. If we can defeat the Zerg before the Defenders of Man.
See, if they're trying to get me to have like a sense of empathy for all these civilians, like no, because they're in the broader scheme of StarCraft 2, there are no civilians, there are no protect this or protect that. The only thing you should be protecting is yourself and your units.
However, Mr. Cloud, Raynor would openly disagree with you, because Raynor spends an entire arc of missions during Wings of Liberty trying and partially succeeding, depending on who you side with, rescuing a bunch of colonists.
Right, but that's Raynor. That's a story-bound campaign character, and you don't even get to enjoy playing as him in multiplayer.
Depends on which mode in multiplayer you play in, because although I'm not going to show it off, the co-op area for multiplayer does allow you to play specifically as Raynor's forces, not Raynor himself, though.
I mean, I tell you now that we're on the subject, it does sound like a worthy multiplayer game variant to have to protect, so many civilians because it causes a lose condition.
Which, ironically enough, is not one of the maps in co-op mode.
Well, darn.
All right, so we can't actually equip all of the tech that we have. Unfortunately, we won't be able to equip all the tech that we have until nearly the end of the campaign. And because of that, we're specifically attempting to steroid the units that we're actually going to be using for this mission, primarily Goliaths, because now that we actually have access to Goliaths are very nice for this mission, because you think when you go into this mission that you're going to be dealing with a bunch of Zerg forces. And then 5 minutes into the mission happens.
My friends, there, we will attack tomorrow.
Well, no, we are still going to, attack all the Zerg forces that are on the planet, but load screen.
Nice to be reminded that we are playing a sophisticated game. Because those types of games need to load extensively.
Tourists. They were in no position to face the Zerg when they arrived. I fear the devastation has already been substantial.
Ragel, I am snoring inside. Snoring, I say.
Okay, so because I have done a little bit of research into the StarCraft 2 Covert Ops speedrun, I'm going to use a tactic from the speedrun specifically in order to actually clear out the Zerg much faster than you are intended to do so. Specifically, I'm going to separate my Banshees away from Nova and have Nova use snipe in order to kill a bunch of more key targets, whilst my Banshees are actually focusing on structures. And as Annotation Gerda mentions here, as long as you can get somewhere between 3 and 4 of the hatcheries before the sneak attack, you effectively disable the Zerg presence in the mission. So don't worry too much about the sneak attack, because it is actually significantly easier than it looks like. Yes, there are 6 hatcheries, but assuming that you can kill anywhere between 3 and 4 of them, you'll more or less disable the entirety of the Zerg presence.
Status report.
The big issue is, making sure that you're taking out detectors whilst you're actually going around, because detectors are going to very quickly deal with your Banshees. And then we use our free nuke up here.
It is funny that speedrunners give the equivalent of a 45-minute lecture, but only for about 5 minutes did we actually glean something useful from it.
And first 3 hatcheries down.
Yay.
Nova here.
Where do you silly billies think you're all going?
Well, they're going up here in order to take down this hatchery. While Nova is, failing to deal with the S4 crawler that's here.
Aim. Fire. Reload. Aim. Fire. Reload.
Thanks to the rangefinder Oculus, Nova's attack range is just so much higher than it's normally supposed to be, that it's actually very easy for her to focus down key building targets and be safe about it. So,
I mean, it is a sniper rifle. It's supposed to be used from a distance.
it is, but her normal combat range is actually a tad too short for her to really gain advantage from it being a sniper rifle. She ends up using it specifically more as a single shot assault rifle more often than not.
Say again? Strictly business.
The eggs are hatching.
And there, all 6 of the hatcheries are clear, and we got one of the anniversary achievements for it.
So they did weave in that joke that we're the exterminators and the Zerg is the infestation.
Activity with the warp signatures. Nova, it isn't the Zerg.
What's happening?
The Tal'Darim Death Fleet is invading this world.
God damn it! Alarak, why are you here?
Protoss. Dicks in space.
Specifically laser dicks in space, because he's got the destroyer void rate models, and he's just firing at us from orbit. Hey, Janara. I will say that of the Tal'Darim forces, I actually like Janara more than Alarak. Unfortunately for us, Janara is doing this at the behest of Alarak. So, yeah, now we have to deal with Janara, and oh look, she brought her fucking mothership with her.
Only until we defeat the Protoss. I see they're using shield projectors to channel power.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
No, the enemy of my enemy is a fucking dick.
It's fully charged.
We better take out those projectors. Let's go.
And now the mission has become, hey, save the planet from the Zerg, to, hey, save the planet from the Protoss.
Identify the locations of the shield projectors. Here they are.
It turned on a dime.
It did. All right.
It's the first Protoss we've seen in 2 hours.
Hour and a half, but
You
yeah.
demolished several hatcheries, Nova.
The thing is, I don't actually dislike the Protoss being here. To be perfectly honest, I'm entirely neutral with them being a presence here. The issue that I end up having specifically is the fact that we're fighting the Tal'Darim, meaning that from a lore perspective, the Tal'Darim are still effectively, a rebel faction of Protoss that have not been brought all the way in line, which means that Alarak is effectively leading a second faction of Protoss.
Say again?
I don't like dealing with Alarak. Yeah.
Call the ball. Status report.
Oh, do I attack up or do I attack down?
We attack down.
Attack up?
Dealing with all of the units that are up here is important, simply so that we can have a military staging ground. But there's nothing here that's actually all that much of a threat. Whereas down is where not only one of the primary objectives is at the moment, but it's also where our optional objective is, and I would like to go get that gear.
Civilian shelter must survive, I see.
Yes, that is the Defenders of Man base in the northwest.
I guess you're good for something.
Okay, now that we have the pylon and the forces here down, we can effectively ignore this section until they start actually sending dudes at us, and they're not going to be sending dudes at us effectively until the next part. So we are still building a siege tank in preparation for them sending dudes at us, but it's not actually all that does. It's not actually, they're not really all that much of a threat now. With the exception of Janara herself, who is still going to be a bit of a bitch for us to actually deal with. And that's one of the smaller things that I dislike about fighting the Protoss, is because Nova is actually very specifically built to take down biological targets. Well, that is a problem because, exactly one unit in all of the Protoss is considered biological, and even that one unit, Nova can't actually take down with a single snipe. Also, they've got this Tal'Darim version of the Oracle, which has the ability to cast I don't remember what the spell is actually called, but it effectively decloaks anything that it hits, which is an issue for Nova because a majority of her advantages come from the fact that she gets permanent and free cloak.
Got it.
It also makes our Banshee significantly less worthwhile.
What a great way to raise the difficulty.
Terran just doesn't deal with Protoss all that well at all. Like Zerg specifically get the ability to swarm over Protoss with sheer numbers, and they do that well enough to where they do that well enough so where it's a, it's an actual inherent advantage of the race. Whereas for a Terran, they end up having to try to swarm over the Protoss with numbers because they have faster production times, and they end up having problems doing it because, well, they still end up having to spend much more cash / resources on their units than the Zerg do.
Ready to go. The mothership has finished charging.
And from here, Goliaths.
On the defenders of man soon.
Got it. I'll lead an attack on one of those shield projectors to force it back.
I've taken the liberty of listening on the defenders.
So yeah, majority of this mission is us slow pushing into entrenched Tel'Darim forces, which again they didn't have like 45 fucking seconds ago. Yeah.
We can't fail.
Well, it's more like 3 minutes ago
Okay,
now, but yeah.
3 minutes at time of, at this time, but 45 seconds at the start of the mission. Bleh.
Base is under attack.
Yes, in the next episode, we'll meet up with Alarak again, because yes, Alarak is here. Fucking douchebag.
It is I, Alarak.
Nuclear missile ready.
Okay, we have another free nuke. Now let's nuke this one in order to get rid of the photon cannons.
Oh.
Yay, got rid of the photon cannons.
Done well, troopers. The Protoss are leaving.
What is this? Those Dominion Terrans have disrupted our mothership shields. Make them suffer.
She's sending forces to our base. Prepare to defend it.
I'm on my way.
We have
They
forces at our
sound
base already.
angry.
We got a bunch of Goliaths there, but they should be fine.
I'm receiving.
And
Welcome to my tropical island paradise.
Whatever it is.
all right, everyone. In the next episode, we will finish off Trouble in Paradise. Be safe,
I'll
everybody.
investigate.
Protoss in paradise.
We've got no anti-air except Nova, and they killed our Banshee. God damn it!